Yes.
Well, welcome into another exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Startz, and with me today is eclectic musician ZeXzy. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you so much, Bob. I'm so excited to be with you today to share my musical story with everyone. And yeah, it feels good to be here.
That's fantastic. Well, I think we have a lot to get into.
Mhm.
You've divulged a little bit to me before we jumped on camera, but I love just kind of jumping into these conversations and getting to know you on the fly. So, give you a chance to go ahead, introduce yourself, give us a little bit of your backstory, and then we'll pick it up with some music talk.
Okay, so yes, ZeXzy is born Wifo Williams Aitwai. I hail from Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. I'm an eclectic musician. Eclectic in the sense that I don't believe in boundaries. I don't believe in being pigeonholed as a musician. I think that different inspirations can hit you as a creative. And I just want to be able to express myself in whatever genre that I feel. There are times when I feel like I'm in this very mellow mood. I may want to go with country music. I grew up on. I was very little when Kenny Rogers would come on radio. Don Williams would play on radio. Um,
Some
even
old country, ZeXzy, old country.
exactly. I remember coming back from school then, and you'll hear songs like "Listen to the radio." Oh, listen to the radio. Let's have a night together. Like there's just a feeling it puts me. And then, you have Tupac playing on the radio, hit them up, and so every song has its own mood. And for me, because we're human beings and we have like a range of emotions. Sometimes you're angry, sometimes you're cool, sometimes you feel love, sometimes you feel hate. And then different genres of music has a way of bringing out those different sides of you, just depending on how the music itself, sounds. So I get inspired by different musicians, different artists, and they all factor into my being an eclectic musician today. So when I get a rap song, it may come in an aggressive form, and I want to put it that way. When I get a country song, it may come in a very mellow way, and I want to put it exactly how it came to me. I don't want to adulterate it. So that's what makes me an eclectic musician, because I don't think I should try to change how the music sounds just because maybe people would say, "Oh no, that's this demographic that's supposed to do this type of music," and then you have to, even if you have to do it, you have to turn it into something else. I just believe in doing it as it came to me and just dropping it like it's hot. So that's what makes me an eclectic musician.
No, I feel you. So, a long time ago, I'm a songwriter myself, and I used to call our
Okay.
music rockabilly reggae funk. And that was a bit too much of a mouthful. So now I just describe it as modern gypsy rock.
Okay.
Right. So, because, and a lot of my influences, obviously, from Americana music, right? American
Hmm.
music, the old rock of the early 60s, the Grateful Dead, but also country from the Hank Williams, the first, right? Hank Sr.,
Hmm.
all the way through your 90s country. And, not a lot of influence from today's kind of pop country stuff, but you can hear it. You can hear the Marshall Tucker, but you can also hear that I grew up listening to bands like Sublime and, the Pepper and these reggae ska bands as I was
Hmm.
coming up in the late 90s, early 2000s. That was a big part of, kind of the culture and my time out on the West Coast. I'm back home now in rural South Dakota. So obviously, country is king around me. But
Yeah.
I have friends that are in hip hop. I have friends that are in EDM music. I have friends like, and I love all of their music. So
Yeah.
I understand it and I love it. As soon as you said eclectic musician, we're just like, we're gonna vibe, man. Let's just get to talking.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about growing up, obviously, inner city Nigeria,
Hmm.
this a lot different vibe than what I grew up in rural South Dakota. So
Okay.
so talk a little bit about, just coming up and the musical influences that you're hearing, the African, right, Afro beats and different things that you're hearing there from the local culture and not
Mhm.
necessarily what you heard on the radio as well. Obviously, that has an influence on you too, right?
Yes. Growing up, my elder brothers already liked music because, when you're a little boy, you don't know much about what's going on, but you have elder ones who probably were buying, CDs, and then they would come home, play them. Reggae was very big in Nigeria. Bob Marley was a huge thing. Although he had died before I was born, but he was always part of the culture. Like you just grew up into knowing Bob Marley, just like you grew up into knowing Fela Anikulapo Kuti, because Fela was a freedom fighter. He was he did Afrobeats. He's the progenitor of Afrobeats. And so every other Nigerian musician kind of like tapped into his own, style of music. Like if you listen to the album I just dropped now, Every Sound, of course that already tells you what the album is about. The beginning of the album, you hear Oh Africa, you hear songs like Government Fees, Comedy Government. Those are songs that are kind of styled in Fela's, especially Government Fees and Comedy Government. They are styled in Fela's kind of arrangement of music, saxophones blaring, and then before the vocals come in, and then saxophone comes in again, ends the song. So I grew up on a lot of Afrobeats and reggae. But then, gradually, hip hop started, having a foothold on African music. We started to like, hip hop too. So all of those sounds, of course, there was also country on radio. There was pop on radio. We had, Nigeria is a country that, embraces all genres of music from different parts of Africa. I'm a piano. So and because I'm a very emotional person, once I internalize something or I like it and it goes right into my subconscious, it comes back as music. That's just how it works. It comes back as my own interpretation of that kind of music. So, growing up in Africa, in Benin City, I listened to all of those different types of music. And when I started doing my own writing, I started writing each of those different genres of music my own way. And it just hits me like Air Hostess. Air Hostess is a track on my recent album. It's a folk song, um, but when I finished writing that song, I was trying to ask myself, where is this influence coming from? But I realized that it's that internalized, Don Williams and all of those guys that I listened to when I was still a kid. And then it just came out as that, because as at that time I was looking for a country song for the album. Because remember, this album is the most eclectic album in the world. Like it has more than 15 genres: Afrobeat, jazz, rock, EDM, salsa, merengue, reggaeton. And in fact, I sang in Spanish on this number 17 track, Aure. I sang and rapped in Spanish. There is a classical song that will make you feel like you're listening to Beethoven or Mozart, or something from the medieval ages. And you have Beach Waves, which is a jazz song, and it will make you feel like you're listening to a Kenny G. So all of these songs had their own, like, because all of these guys are people that I looked up to. So when I was putting together every sound, and myself and my team, we always talked about, how do we really like go across all of these different genres and nail them. I feel so happy when people tell me, like, a friend of ours sent me a message, and he is white. Like, he said ZeXzy should just stick to singing in Spanish, because the way he nailed it, you almost think he's Latino. So, but that's what gives me joy, that I'm not just doing something to check a box. I'm doing it because I try to understand it. I try to give it my best interpretation that I can. So that's just what the whole expressive side of music is for me. Just doing it the way you think it should be done, and just enjoying yourself while you do it, and not tying yourself to convention or what people think that you should be doing. So Every Sound is an album that everyone should listen to that album. It's a world of its own. It's a global tour of music, where you go from Africa to the Caribbean, and then from the Caribbean into America, and then America back to Europe, and then it's just a world tour of sounds. Every song is different. I use different tones. I use different sounds. and it's such a joy that the album is out there right now, and we're getting so many reviews from people, and it just feels good.
Right. Well, and in a industry now that is so I hate the way that it does it, and it's probably why I'm not more successful in my career as well, but they want you to stay in your lane. Go make
Yes,
this thing and find the fans of that one thing and then just go repeat that thing over and over again. And it's like that's not me either, ZeXzy. I can't
yeah,
stand
it's
that,
it's
right?
boring.
Yeah, it's
It's
boring.
boring.
Well,
It-
and
it-
and our own interpretations are how we honor the ones who came before us. So if you have an eclectic taste in music that you like that moves you, then why
mhm,
wouldn't you want to write in that style? And I think a lot of songwriters and a lot of young artists end up kind of keeping themselves from expressing their true nature because they're doing something that someone in the industry or people who have really no idea what it's like to be an artist and to have that expression are
mhm.
telling them to do. So I just love that you fully embody all of that and just unabashedly go after it and to say no, I'm willing to give you the world tour of sound and I really don't care. And in this time frame where nobody is really listening to albums anyway, and it's all about singles, and people are only really consuming maybe that one song of yours anyway, then what does
Mhm.
it matter? Go make something in every genre, and you may be even more successful than you would have had you stayed in your lane.
Exactly. For me, it's about my artistic integrity. I'm not satisfied doing one thing over and over again, and that's where music genres begin to fall off because all the artists in that same genre of music, they keep repeating the same topics. Country musicians only want to sing about love, 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 love. Hip hop wants to sing about girls, 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 and Afrobeats wants to sing about dance, 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 and then you have to use almost similar lyrics all the time, and your beat pack is almost the same thing because you're producing almost like the same thing over and over again. So for me, in order for me not to lose it and get uninterested in the creative process, I have to I have to find an outlet for these other sounds that are coming to. I know guys that are great in rap, but they only want to do Afro beats. Like these guys would kill any rap song. But because Afro beats, from the African side of things, is much more commercial, they don't want to rap. But for how I see it is, why not create these departmental store? Why be a mom and pop if you can be a departmental store? Like, even if people are coming to buy, let's say, kitchen utensils more, but what is wrong if I also have an aisle for farm implements or for farm equipment? Sorry, and what if I have another aisle for let's say furniture? What if I have another aisle for any other thing? So that's how I see creativity. Even if people want to patronize more of my Afrobeat side because I'm African, even if they want to patronize, the Latin music side because maybe they like Aurea, like just create different things for different people to like. And they may come in because of the Latin song and then love the Afrobeat song more, because you go to the store sometimes, you want to buy one thing and then you see something else that you didn't think you need, and then you want to buy it off the shelf. So I still love the album, and I really wanted this album to drop because a lot of people started saying that I was confused. Today you do Afrobeats, and the next thing you're rapping, and the next thing you're doing reggaeton. Why not just stick to one thing? So I wanted to define myself with this album and say, look, this is ZeXzy. He's going to be the most eclectic musician that ever lived when it's all said and done. When you listen to the song Beast, that was where I really like talked about, me not wanting to stick to only Afro beats, and how folks, think that, I should just be in my lane and, put me in this pigeonhole, but I refuse to be in there because I don't want to be defined by anybody. And I think every musician should break out of that mode, because if we all renege on this, these so-called gatekeepers that want us to do what they want us to do, they'll get tired because they have to remain in business with the aid of the musicians. we are the products. So if we keep acquiescing to them and just wanting to do, they said I should stay in my country lane, I must stay there, or my rap lane, I have to stay there. Imagine if all of us were expressing ourselves the way we wanted to. I mean, let everything fall where it may, but let's just express ourselves using our music, and then let those who like it like it. There are those who think, I actually thought some of my friends would prefer the Afrobeat songs more, but then they go prefer the rap song. And then, funny enough, I sent the album to my friends here in America, and I think, oh, they are going to prefer the rap song because they're Americans, and then they go like the Afrobeat songs. So what that means is that this idea that a group of people only like one thing, or everyone is monolithic, and they can't like more than what they like, is very wrong. And I think we're shooting ourselves on the foot by not exploring and trying to branch out and reach out. And being a creative, you realize that for every genre of music that you try to explore, it brings out another side of you, and you are going to love it as a creative, because it just opens your mind. I mean, I could do this. Wow. So why box yourself when you can express yourself in so many ways?
I couldn't agree more, ZeXzy. I just love everything that you're saying. And it feels like the album is kind of an invitation for listeners to broaden their horizons as well. Now, the one thing that can be a little bit difficult with an album like this that has so many different directions that it's going is having a coherent sound. But I don't feel like you're someone who struggles with that, because where most people are trying to go in a different lane, you feel very authentic in all the things that you're doing. And I'm saying this having not listened to the album yet, of course, but I can't wait to give it a listen, because I feel like that you would be able to tie it all together. Do you feel like the album came off and it still sounds like the same person, even though it goes in many different directions?
That's the funny thing. I had to ask my friends, like, can you still recognize my voice? Given that I'm switching tones and I'm switching styles and even personality on different songs. And it was like, yes, of course, we know your voice. Because sometimes I start to doubt if people can recognize me from song to song. I'm rapping in some, I'm singing in some. And then they told me they could. So, but I think it's just the what I've discovered about my own style of making music is that music just hits me. And if it hits me, maybe because of the things I've been seeing on the news and the things that I've been hearing from friends, so all of those things just stay in my subconscious, and it may come out in a style of music that maybe may be a Michael Jackson style of delivery. Okay, take for example, So Much is the 27th track on the album. I was thinking, there's so much going on. Russia is at war. Ukraine asks for more. NATO close this door. There's so much going on. AI takes the floor. Man is left in awe. Rove is not the law. There's so much going on. Hi, there's so much going on, you know. And then on a song like Beast, you hear me say, yo, I'm such a music cheat. I don't only fuck with Afro beats. For those who beefing, this is season disease. Well, I'm not a man, I'm a beast. So
But it's still the same person, and I think your friends are right that you're still you. There's just so many sides to you. You're a 12-sided die, right? Like we're playing D&D.
exactly. And because I lost my voice at a very young age, um, when I lost my singing voice, I had to, because creativity couldn't leave me. I was trying to, because I was depressed, I was frustrated because I couldn't sing. But the creativity wouldn't leave me. So in order not to lose touch with it totally, I started rapping. So because my voice became so hoarse, I couldn't sing. Imagine a guy who could sing a Mariah Carey at the time, and then all of a sudden he can't sing
And then
like.
this young man hits puberty and he can't do that anymore.
No, that's the funny thing. It wasn't even puberty. It was a medical condition that I had called rhinitis. My nostrils were blocked. So the air I couldn't use, you need air to sing.
Right.
You need to control air. So now I had lost control of the air. I couldn't sing anymore. And I went for two nasal operations. They both came out abortive. I don't know, for whatever reason, the doctors couldn't figure it out. Nobody could. So now I had to let go of singing and started rapping because I was the only. In fact, I had to start rapping songs of people like Notorious B.I.G. because he had a very thick voice because that was how my voice was sounding as at that time. But I discovered that the minute I let go of the singing and my spirit kind of like the tension in my spirit kind of came down, I discovered that, in 8 months, maybe I will be able to sing today and then it becomes bad again because the blockage isn't just like total shutdown. So it's almost like fully blocked. And then sometimes it opens up a little, I can sing a little, and then it closes right back. And then it started opening little by little. And this took about 15 to 18 years for
Holy
me.
cow.
Yes. So all through that span of time, in some cases, my voice is now good enough to just sing maybe a country song where you don't really need to belt out high notes. I just like, oh, just take it easy and I'm good. But if I try to go to high notes, I can't do it. And then gradually, even as my voice got better, I now realized that I could close some part of my voice, collapse some part of my voice to achieve that tone that I was doing when my voice hadn't opened up to this. So I now was able to use my voice in different ways for different genres of music. So my own music story is a very different and a unique one in that regard. So now I can go to, like, if I want to do like a normal country song that doesn't require, I know how to close my voice. If I wanted to do a pop song that requires me belting out notes, I know that I need to open my voice to its widest range.
So in
Uh,
many ways, your condition seems like it made you an even better singer, where you had the talent before and you had the tools, but maybe you didn't know how to properly use them. And through
yes.
your condition, you became an even more powerful singer in that with your technique and really understanding your breathing and your voice. That's
Yes.
incredible.
At the end of the tunnel, that's what I now see because it was such a pain. And I know I would look up and say, God, why? Like, why show me music and then take it away from me again? I was like, there was no girl in my choir back then that can sing the kind of notes that I would sing. I was so confident in what I could do. And then to just lose it all overnight, it
Yeah.
wasn't funny.
Oh, that's a hero's journey, though, ZeXzy. Is we all kind of know we're born with something inside of us, but we have to go through so much of our lives to know what we're willing to give up to fight for that specialness, right? And I
Yes.
think that's part of an artist journey that a lot of people forget. I think what makes the best artist is that they've been through that, and what a journey you've been on. I've already taken up a ton of your time today. I'm totally enthralled by your story, ZeXzy. Before I let you go, please tell everybody where they can find this beautiful album and where they can find out more about you online.
Okay, so Every Sound was released August 29, 2025. It's across all streaming platforms. These are Apple, Tidal, Spotify, Audiomack, Boomplay, Amazon Music, any streaming platform you're on, the music is there. It's the most eclectic album in the world, and I'm not saying this as just hype. Go in there, listen to that album. It's an hour, 30 minutes. Just sit down and just listen. You are going to enjoy the album. Over 15 genres. And if you want to find me online, I'm on Instagram at Mr. ZeXzy, MRZEXZY. On TikTok, you find me at King ZeXzy, KingZeXzy. On Facebook is ZeXzy, ZEXZY. And X2 is Mr. ZeXzy, MRZEXZY. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate
Zex, this has been a thrilling conversation for me, and I really would love to have you back on sometime in the
it.
future.
Anytime,
So,
anytime.
yeah, I
Yes.
just glad we try to keep these episodes a little bit shorter, but gosh, I'm having so much fun. I almost hate to let you
I
go.
don't. I don't even want to leave. Like, I
Yeah.
just please, just let me know when you're done listening to the album. We can book another one, and then we'll talk more about it.
Well, there you go. I would absolutely love that. So, Zexy, thanks for being on the program today,
I
and
appreciate
thank
it.
you for being part of the scene.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.